You wake up to the world of March 2020 at the start of the biggest global pandemic in the 21st century, with nothing better to do besides drop in on the newest Battle Royale experience to take the gaming scene by storm called Warzone. After we saw the recent success with Epic Games in Fortnite, Activision makes their own attempt at creating a Battle Royale experience in the Call of Duty universe that completely takes the community by storm and is nothing like we've seen before. With the success of Verdansk and the game modes that followed suit, like Resurgence with Rebirth, Warzone has now been a staple game mode in the Call of Duty titles, featuring new iterations of the game mode each year. Which brings us back all the way to present day of March 2025, 5 years after the initial release of Warzone, but the game feels and looks a lot different than it used to. Hi, my name's Smokey8. I've been a content creator and competitive Warzone player for a couple years now, and I have achieved the rank of Iridescent in 4 different seasons, and I've also competed in the World Series of Warzone twice, with my highest placement being top 200 in North America, and I'm also currently in top 1000 for wins and eliminations in Black Ops 6. Let's just say I know this game pretty well. As you guys may know, this is probably the worst spot that Warzone has been in, and I wanted to share with you guys my experience from starting off as a noob in Verdansk to being one of the best players in the country by Black Ops 6. What are my biggest takeaways from playing thousands of hours since the game has been released? Now, as a disclaimer, I will say I don't have any experience or idea about game development. This is simply just coming from a perspective as a player that wants to talk about features that have either helped or have taken away from the core functionality of Call of Duty's experience. So let's begin. While this might not make sense at first, but there's just too much going on, and I'll explain. Now, when we're looking at all the reasons why people are stepping away from this game, there are too many things that are making it unplayable, and one of those are all the bugs. I mean, there's just too many to begin with. I've had times where my operator has just decided to take like 7 psychedelics during the match. Damn! So I just have like rainbows on my screen for the entire game. I've had times where I've loaded into the game and I don't have any contracts on my screen, and I have a disruptor for the entirety of the game, and UAV doesn't work and I can't see pings. I've walked into the water and I've lost my loadouts before. I've hopped on zips and I hear zip audio for the rest of the game. My loadouts and weapons have gone through the map, and you could just go on and on and on, and it just takes away from the core function of the game, which is actually really good, and I think Black Ops 6 delivered, but everything else just makes it not fun. It's even gotten to the point where core functions of the game are even broken. Like every day when I'm playing with my boys or streaming, we have to all reset at some point because Activision or Call of Duty thinks someone turned off crossplay, but we never did. We just didn't run into issues like this, 5-6 years ago. And I think the root cause of this issue is that there's just a poor system built around the game. And I'm not talking about Black Ops 6 itself. It's the fact that there has to be single player, multiplayer, zombies in Warzone, all in the same title, which just become convoluted in time. I mean, the fact that there's still Modern Warfare 2 weapons from 3 years ago in the game, like, why are they here? They don't need to be here. And it's really just feels like a glass castle that has been breaking down in time. But I have been thinking about a solution that could fix this. And one way I've always looked at this is just by separating Warzone from the main game. And the reason why I say this is because Call of Duty has proven to make a functioning good Call of Duty that has single player, multiplayer, and zombies time and time again, and a good Warzone experience. But ever since it's been intertwined together, it's just become a mess, and I feel like it would just be a lot easier to balance and add more features to both games by just separating them, and you would still be able to connect your account to both games because we all have Activision accounts, and because the system isn't like this, the game feels really broken. Moving on to my next point, which is lower skilled players will always be rewarded. Now, I'm not saying that golds deserve iridescent rewards. It's more along the lines of this phrase that I like to call of handout. So when you look at the player base and the statistics of an average player is only a 0.9 KD, which means when we break that down, they die more than get a kill. They're gonna develop features to make the game easier for them because they want them to have fun and they don't want to push them off the game, especially because they're their main revenue source. This is why we have mechanics like aim assist, and it's even gotten to the point of having rotational aim assist, which basically the game just aims for you if you're strafing. And now we have skill-based damage. And if you don't believe me, this dude is literally shooting my feet and getting headshots. So I know the screen doesn't lie. At the end of the day, the majority of players enjoy a casual experience. So they're going to develop features to make the game easier for everyone. Cheaters. Yep. That's all I had to say. So I know cheating's been around in Call of Duty since the dawn of time, but it's bad. And it's really, really, really bad. I mean, it's gotten to the point where I can't avoid a cheater in any lobby now. I can't play this game on a weekend barely. And if you try to play PC ranked, you probably have better luck winning the lottery than ranking up at all. And this all boils down to Warzone's anti-cheat, which is Ricochet, which has basically been non-existent this year. Now, if the game wants to trend in the other direction in any way, it really boils down to this issue. And in my ideal world, I would love for it to be a preventative software system instead of a reactionary software system that we have now, so that cheats and programs could be detected while loaded into matches and lobbies instead of having to be killed by them and then reported or submitted to the system. But the cheating issue goes even further because it's just been such a widespread issue for so long now that any low skilled player that gets killed by a high skilled player that has good mechanics, they don't think no better to think that they're cheating. And it just has caused a spiral of legit players being shadowed or just being constantly spam reported, and everything just seems to be spiraling out of control and no one's being held accountable. I know the days may seem grim, but season 3 is right around the corner, and this is really Call of Duty's last chance at proving themselves to the community. And as someone who started playing Warzone from the start at Verdansk, I really don't want to see this game vanish out of thin air. As someone who's devoted a career and time into building something around this game, I know what brought us all together, and I know what makes this game great. And I just hope to see some of the issues diminish and see us trend in the right direction. Thanks for watching.